Welcome everyone to the steering team webinar for alumni counties participating in the College Success Coalition. At this meeting we're going to talk about how to prepare for your second member organization meeting, and the focus of that meeting is member activity planning. So this is a pretty simple meeting. The first thing that the PowerPoint that we're showing right now is actually the PowerPoint that you would use at your meeting. First thing we want to do is just kind of talk about the calendar for the year. So we are reminding folks that we, in July, did our strategic planning. So we organized and looked at our vision, and we looked at new data and did our goals and our targeted concerns. And then at today's meeting in August, we're looking at our data again and our concerns, but what we really want to talk about at this meeting are the activities that our members are going to do this school year to promote college access and college success, and more specifically to address the concerns that we came up with. We know that in some counties the concerns might be the percentage of kids who are earning a Core 40 diploma, or things like that, and so we want these activities for all your member organizations to focus on those things. So then that's August. Then all through first semester your member organizations will be implementing their activities, and then in January we'll come back to have a very informal meeting that's just show and tell. We'll have your members get online and check off the activities that they've done, take about 5 minutes, but the majority of that meeting is just everybody just chatting about what they've been doing, and we hope that people will start to look at places where they can work together or where they can support each other. Then in the end of the second semester in May, we'll do the same thing. So we'll again have member organizations talk about what they did and what's coming up, look for places where we can support each other and help each other. So that's kind of the calendar for the year. This slide is designed so that you can drop in the specific dates for your member organization meetings, and I would really suggest that you drop in the dates for all 4 meetings and get that set up. Once the date is set, it kind of makes it hard to get behind, because you know the date's out there, and so you have to have the meeting. So okay, so at today's meeting, at your second meeting, what you're wanting to help your member organizations do is to plan their activities and then to document their activities for the year. So to begin with, we're having this meeting at a place where you can get online, and we're having people log in to www.learnmoreindiana.org, and then they're clicking Member Organization Login in the left-hand column. So that will bring them to the login page, and they'll put in their member organization's username and password. And if they forget their member organization username and password, just tell them to click, where that blue link is. And what that will do is it will give the contact person an opportunity to enter a new username and password. One little glitch that can happen there is if there's a person from the member organization who's at the meeting, but they are not the contact person, then we've got a problem, because the reset will be sent to the contact person who's not there. So if that happens, what you can do, just as a reminder, you can go into your admin system and change the contact person for that member organization temporarily so they can get the username and password, and then change it back at the end of the meeting to who it's supposed to be. That's just kind of a workaround. Another thing you might want to do is to call Debbie and ask her to be on call during your meeting, so that if you run into glitches with getting people logged in and you need help, she can be there. I know when I'm facilitating meetings, when I get to this point, we always have one person on our staff who's in charge of helping people that can't get logged in. So I might be facilitating the meeting, but then if people get stuck, they'll walk over to the side of the room and quick get help from the person on our staff who's there ready to help them. So just something to think about. Sometimes it's hard to get everybody logged in. Okay, so once they're logged in, then we're asking them to please click Our Activities. These are activities that they've entered into the system last year, or possibly when they apply to be a member organization. So when they click on Our Activities, they'll go to this page, and then we want to instruct them to go to the place where they can edit their organization's activities. So you can see in the verb column there's that one line that says enter, and then activities your organization will implement, and they just need to click on the icon in the add edit column. And that will bring them to this list. When they get to this page, each of their activities that are already entered, either from their application or because they updated their activities last year, each activity will already be in there. And all they need to do is to edit the activity or delete it. So we're wanting to capture the activities that they're planning to implement in the 14-15 school year. So they can edit activities that are already in there to change the dates, or they can delete the activity if they're no longer going to do the activity. So one of the things that we really want to make sure that they do is edit the activity dates, because if it's an existing activity, they probably included their 2013-14 date, and so we just want to make sure that those dates get updated so that kids can find them in the right year, find those activities. Just a reminder that they may want to do their activities during the state campaigns. So if they have something about paying for college, they might want to do that activity during the Cash for College campaign. Okay, so then after they've updated or deleted their current activities, then we're saying, okay, what new activities might you do? And to add a new activity, they just click, just instruct them, click the Add New Activity. You're kind of walking them through this. And then on the title and description page, so you're kind of letting them know that there's 3 tabs up here. Go to the title and description tab. Write an activity title that's short and descriptive. The activity description should be, what are you going to do? When is this scheduled to occur? And I would really, really strongly encourage them to put a date in here so that kids can find those activities and know when they're going to happen. I would discourage people from saying ongoing unless it's ongoing every single day throughout the whole year. An alternative, sometimes people think it's ongoing because it's going to happen once a month. In that case, I would enter the 12 dates that it's going to happen on so that we make sure that it pops up in the searchable calendar that kids are going to be looking at. And you'll see in the middle of the page there that there's a link that says, whoops, let me go back, a link that says add another date here. Okay. And I would also discourage people from adding activity date is to be determined. Sometimes people can narrow down the date that it's going to happen in August. They just don't know exactly what date. So they can just put August, leave the date blank, and that actually will assign a date of August 0, 2015 or whatever it is in there. But at least it will appear with the August activities in the searches. They need to enter, which communities this activity is going to be available to. Here's the edit button on that. And then what's the focus, prepare, plan, or pay, how much time is required, and then student choices is the rest of this that this activity would help kids to make. So you're just kind of walking through, how to create an activity. I would, click on the evaluation tab or tell them there is an evaluation tab, but that's optional. They don't have to do that. Most of our member organizations do not. And then if they want to create a to-do list, we just gave them a tool for doing that. But again, I think most of our counties do not, member organizations do not use that list. Okay, here is the activity evaluation page if they do want to do that, and then the just some arrows, so as you talk about each part they can point to it, and then here's the to-do list. Okay, then we thought it might be nice to just give folks some ideas for activities. So one of the things we want to point out and remind people is if they want activity ideas, if your members want activity ideas, that there is this activity search tool. So to get to it, they would go back to the home page for the coalition, click on activity search on the left, and then they can go in and narrow down the search criteria. The search criteria that's probably going to be the most interesting to them is the implementing organization type. So if they're a public library, they can say, show me what other public libraries are doing. If they're a mayor's office, they can say, show me what other mayor's offices are doing, or a community foundation, or a school, or whatever. So I think that might be really interesting to folks to just see what are other organizations doing. I know I use this all the time to generate ideas and get really good ideas from just kind of searching through to see what everybody's doing. Okay, and then another way to get activity ideas is to look at the Learn More campaigns. There's College Go Week, which is actually just about to come up, September 22nd to 26th. So they could do activities around campus visits, or do a college application day, or an SAT prep class. So lots of different ideas for College Go Week. Here's some ideas for Cash for College. They could bring together people to watch FAFSA Friday. They could do a presentation on the 529 savings plans. Remember, the activities can be with students, or with parents, or with youth service workers. So, lots of different ways to do activities during these campaigns. Career Ready is a new campaign. The summer dates have not been introduced yet, but we're looking here at things that kids can do in the summer that they maybe is more difficult to do during the school year. So having an internship fair to show kids where they could do internships in the summer, or doing a job shadowing match program, or summer reading program, or campus visits. I mean, there's lots of different things that can happen in the summer that are more difficult to do during the school year. Okay, then we also want to just touch on, we've done this at 2 other meetings, but I just want to make sure that this is at the forefront of everybody's thinking, that another type of activity that they could do are activities that would help the 21st Century Scholars students qualify for their scholarship. So I included in this presentation the 12 different types of activities. I won't go through each of these again, but just reminding everybody that if they do one of these kinds of activities, students who participate would be it would help them qualify for their 21st Century Scholars Scholarship. Okay, and then just reminding people that when they log their activities online, when your members log activities online, they're going to get this question: would you like students to be able to use this activity to meet their SSP requirements? And then they would check off which requirement their activity would align with. And then I put up screenshots to just show your members what's going to happen from the students' and parents' perspective, that they'll log in and they'll have a search page where they'll be able to narrow down the search by SSP requirement, also by geographic region, so they can ask for activities that are just in your county, and also by date if they want to look for activities during their spring break or whatever. So you've got that. Then, after the students put in the query, this is what pops out. And I think this is the first time you've seen this. I think the last time we talked about this, I didn't have this screen yet. But here's a search that popped up a whole slew of activities. One was a college, and I've made these fictitious so I wasn't exposing phone number and contact information for other organizations, but these are real activities that are in there now. So college campus visit that a church youth group is doing, they do a conference on a college campus, and while they're there they stay in the dorm and they take a tour. So kids could use that for their college campus visit. So lots of different ways that kids are going to be able to search for the scholar activities that your member organizations put into the system. Okay, and basically that's it. So after you've walked through everything, then the next thing would be to just to have work time. And you know, the homework coming into this meeting was that your member organizations were supposed to be thinking about what activities they could do to promote and work on your targeted concerns. And then for the rest of the meeting, it's just work time. So you saw it took me less than 15 minutes to go through these slides. And so again, the majority of your member meeting on this one can be work time. And you know, if you've got time, you might let your member organizations talk about maybe one of their, you know, one activity that they're really excited about that's coming up after they get them entered in. So okay, so I think that's it for this webinar. Let me check real quickly. If you've got questions, raise your hand, and I'll unmute you real quickly. And I'm not seeing any questions up. Oh, here's one. Let me see, Dustin. Question, Dustin? Or was that up from before?
So what is
okay.
What'd you say?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, what is the best way to get member organizations to enter their data? Because, I mean, I think with the steering team and with member organizations, you know, everyone's busy, and I think that is probably a concern that we've, I think, talked about before, but I just didn't know if there was a good or better way of doing it.
Yeah,
what
we're hearing from a lot of organizations, and Glenn, I wish I could unmute Glenn because I think they did this really well. What we're hearing from other counties is that it really works to just do it at the meeting. So, and that's why we designed this meeting this way, that you were, you know, showing people how to do it and then giving them some ideas in case they haven't thought through yet what their organizations are going to do. And then just getting them right on the computers right then and saying, you know, before you go home, update your activities, make sure you're all up to date, and then it's done. So then you don't have to depend on them remembering to do it when they get home and everything gets busy. So I think that's kind of the best thing, the best way to do it. And then at every meeting from now on, there will be time to get your members online to update their activities. So at the next meeting, they're going to get online and just check off, did they do the activities or not? And so I think, you know, that just needs to become part of every meeting, and maybe explaining to your member organizations, you know, that part of this is documenting so that everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and so that especially so kids and parents can find those activities. But I would just do it at the meeting. Just have your meeting at the at a place where you've got a computer lab, maybe in the school or, you know, wherever, and just do it at the meeting. So I think that's the best way. The other way that is much more time consuming for you, but we have had counties do this as well, is to do a campaign where your steering team calls each of your member organizations and actually enters the information on behalf of the member organization. So you can imagine how time consuming that would be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I just start capturing them at the meetings. I mean, and just do it while everybody's there.
I think the only reservations, because that was what I thought we had talked about a while back, was doing it at the meeting. I think the only reservation I would have, or at least not me, but other people might have, is they don't want to go to a meeting potentially to do office work. But you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, I don't know. I think with Vigo County, I mean, we could just try it and see where it goes. But I don't know. I just know that it's hard to get people involved in things, of course, you know, outside of their job duty. So you can kind of see where I'm going with that.
Yeah. I think you need to, you know, to hype it that this is a good thing, and you know, this allows everybody to be accountable, allows people at the state level to see what you're doing, and you know that when everybody gets home they get busy, so before you leave, nobody's allowed to leave until they update their activities. Let's hear maybe from some others.
Sure.
And Glenn, if you want to type me something, I know that you guys did this in your county when you did your progress reports, and just might be interesting to hear how that went. So, okay, Dustin, I'm going to mute you back, and Sarah's got a hand up. Let's unmute Sarah. Sarah, any input on that? Or another question?
Well, I was thinking, you know, I mean, we have that same problem, so, I mean, Dustin's not the only one,
Sure.
I think, that is in that boat. But, you know, Dustin, kind of something for him to think about, you know, we don't have access to grad students or access to a college student, so maybe you could find, with all the colleges that you have partners with, some class or something like that, maybe an education class where they could enter the data for you and for your businesses. I mean, that might be something, a graduate student that could do that, or in reaching out to those schools, or even a high school that has kind of like a volunteer work or something like that they could do to put on their resume, and they could, call the businesses that you guys work with that do activities, or even just, send generic information out that you need for the activities, and then somehow try and get back, and then having that person enter the data. So that I don't know if that would work, but it might be something to at least think of, since you have those resources with those universities and stuff like that in your area.
That's a great idea. I'm going to unmute Dustin too, so he can chat back with you. And the other thing, Sarah, I have a son who was an Eagle Scout, and Eagle Scouts are always looking for meaningful projects. And I think in the olden days the Eagle Scouts would build birdhouses, but now they're really wanting to do meaningful community work, and this might be a good way to get kids involved too, that they could call the member organizations, do the interviewing, and enter the information. So Dustin, do you want to respond to Sarah?
Yeah, I was just going to say that has come up as far as having a GA help me with those things, but I wasn't sure if they would be allowed to do that with it being the state website, so to speak. I mean, there's nothing on there that's, highly confidential, but I just didn't know if there would be any lines crossed by having a grad student help with something like that, because that has been brought up. I mean, we were definitely going to have a GA from St. Mary of the Woods help out with other things, but on the updating of the website, we were still a little unsure on that. So I don't know if that's something you could answer or not, Sue.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be cautious. I'm trying to think what is on the website that would be confidential, and really the only thing I think is that there is the contact information for everybody. So your member organizations, phone numbers and the contact person's email addresses and their mailing addresses are there. But I think, with guidance, I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, let me see if I can pull this up real quickly. In the online system, let's see, I'm logged in as a member organization right now. I'm going to log out of that and log back in as a steering team. There's Sarah's picture. So I'm logging in as Demo County. And on your Members tab, we give you this tool called Manage Member Organizations. So I'm going to click on that to edit. And this gives you the ability to edit the member organization's activities. So if you did want to call everybody and go that route, I could, call Boy Scout Troop, call Jason Stout. These are all fictitious people. Call Boy Scout Troop 505 Jason Stout. Here's his contact information. Then just click on Edit Activities, and they've got one activity in, and then I would just go in and edit. So, yeah, so that's a possibility. Okay, what other questions do you all have?
Hey, Sue, is there any update on the statewide coalition? I know I emailed you about that a while back, and you said we just weren't there yet, and I just didn't know if there's any updates since then.
We do not have a contract with the state to do that.
Okay.
The state decided to go kind of a different direction with that. We've kept the state website up on our site so that it's available if the state wants to use it. But the state would learn more. The state coalition is not active. There has been another group, Indiana Youth Institute, that's put together representatives of different state level organizations to have some conversations. And I've attended several of those meetings, as has Learn More, and it's been a really good discussion. I think what they're looking at doing is to begin with, is creating a resource database that they would make available. So I'm not exactly sure where that's going to end up, but in terms of Learn More's state-level coalition, that's not active at this time, although it is still on our website. We just left it up so that it's there if Learn More ever, if and when Learn More would like to use it.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Other questions? If not, we'll close. Okay. Very good. Well, I tell you what, I look forward to talking with everybody. Our next webinar, so we'll do these webinars prior to each month where you're having a member organization meeting. And so the next one would be in January, and if you haven't registered for that, please do. I think you probably all, I'm guessing you register for that same time that you register for this. But the date is January 7th, same time, 3 o'clock, and we'll talk about having that progress meeting. And then the next one is in May, and that's May 6th, same time, 3 to 4, and we'll talk about your second activity progress meeting. So in the meantime, feel free to talk with Debbie or me, of course, and give us a call if you have any questions. We're eager to help, as always. And I'm just so excited that you guys are engaged, and look for our email about the ambassador counties and the recruitment awards. Again, there's going to be 4 ambassador counties, but 10 counties can earn the recruitment awards. So look for that email, and we're just really eager to get started with that. Very important that we get these last counties in this year. So please, please, please help as much as you can with that. I really appreciate it. So with that, I will close. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for doing such great work in your counties. I know you all have full-time jobs doing something else, and that this is an add-on to that you're doing just because of how much you care about kids and about your county's well-being. So I just really appreciate that. I know you probably don't get a lot of extra thank yous, but on behalf of our organization and on behalf of me and Learn More, just thank you so much for the time that you put into this. Okay, and then we will archive this on the steering team website, so if you want to look at this later for any reason, you can. So, okay, thanks everybody, and we'll sign off.